Welcome back to Conflict of Interest, and our guest tonight is Dennis Woodward, who's a senior lecturer in politics at Monash University, and we have the lovely but argumentative Sophie Black with us again. Now, Dennis, I just want to deal with one thing, because you know about all this Chinese and Rudd stuff. Does it make any bloody difference that he speaks Mandarin?
Look, I think it sends a good message.
But on a scale of 10, I mean, does it matter?
Well,
I mean, is he going to be listened to?
If he spoke French,
Yeah.
the French would have a very high opinion of him.
Yes, and if you think back to the election campaign, he actually got a lot of coverage in China. People were really following his progress.
Well, they must be really dumb to think that that matters. And what about the Cantonese? Do they vote against him and not like him because he doesn't?
Well, actually, a lot of Cantonese are learning to speak Mandarin now,
But
as are my friends in Hong Kong.
But most of the population, Chinese population in Australia, are Cantonese. Most of the people here are Cantonese from the south.
Yeah.
Well, so what, they hate Rudd because he only speaks Mandarin. Don't understand him.
They
no
are
good.
certainly proud of the fact that they're Chinese. They may
Yeah.
speak a different dialect
And
from
so they should
the dominant
be.
one.
China's
And
a
so
fantastic
they'll
country.
be more than happy to see Rudd as a friend of China.
Well, Dennis, what do you think of the opposition's line in the last couple of weeks? Has it got racist undertones? Is it dog whistling?
Look, I think there's a couple of things there. Look, I don't know what the opposition are motivated by, but my guess would be that they've had some focus groups. The focus groups have said that we don't like these Chinese companies taking over Australian companies. We don't like to think that our Prime Minister's kowtowing to China. The Chinese are nasty people. We don't want to be seen to be at their beck and call. So I think that's maybe what underlies it, because I can't think of any other reason why the Leader of the Opposition would run around saying, here we've got a Prime Minister who's a roving ambassador for China.
Other than the fact that it's true.
Simply because he argued that China should have a bigger role to play in the IMF.
Yeah,
and
but
when
it does seem like he's representing China, doesn't he?
Well,
China
I think
are
what
big
he's
enough to look
saying.
after
I think what
themselves.
he's saying is quite correct. I mean, ever since the Second World War, those international financial institutions, the World Bank, the IMF, have been dominated by Europeans and by Americans.
Yeah, it's because we won the war.
Yeah, but why wouldn't you have the country with the world's biggest foreign exchange reserves playing a more prominent role in the national financial system when it's falling around everyone's ears?
Oh, well, why wouldn't you have the biggest religion in the world, Islam on it as well? They got 1.6 billion. I mean, I don't think big's necessarily better. Just a question of, I mean, China's is in the end a communist economy. I mean, it's ruled from the top and with a very tight hand. Is this what we want for Australia?
Well, I'd certainly agree that China's ruled by the Communist Party.
Yeah, and it's ruled from the top. It's a top-down.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's an authoritarian regime.
And it's not a democracy in any shape or form. They might have softened how it looks, but it's a pretty tough place to live if you want to dissent.
Well, we don't determine our foreign policy on whether they're democratic or not. Do
No.
Oh, I think so.
we? Well,
I think we
Not
do.
when the
Oh.
economic reality is we can't afford not to engage with China.
Well, that's pretty pragmatic, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, so we're prepared to engage with a country who we...
that's what's made Australia great.
being
We've been
pragmatic.
pragmatic. We've been with the dominant hegemonic power in every era. When it was Britain, we were part of the British Empire. Now it's America.
Exactly.
We are close friends of America. If it's going to be China,
will be part of the Chinese empire.
We'll be great
That's
friends of
exactly,
China.
You've put your finger... no, don't cheat. We'll be part of the Chinese empire. If it's Britain, you said, we'll be part of the British Empire. If it's China, we'll be part of the Chinese empire. And that's what...
Well, I don't consider us part of an American empire.
No, but we'll be part of the Chinese empire. And that's what these focus group people, that's what true Aussies are concerned about.
And you're saying this isn't racist?
It's got nothing to do with race. The Chinese, China for a start,
Do we
contains
bat,
a number
do we
of
bat
races.
an eyelid when American companies invest in Australia? Who is the biggest foreign investor in Australia?
The left,
United States.
The left wing have been bitterly complaining for years about American control of Australian countries. What's all this globalism demonstration stuff about? What's that about? All these riots we have from the left
My guess is
about globalism.
My guess is it's less to do with America than with capitalism.
Yeah, but China's not capitalism.
Well, it's,
For all
it's making a
intents
pretty
and
good,
purposes, it is.
pretty good.
It's having a good crack at it.
Look, it's about America. The global the capitalism is equated with America, and they hate America. That's the left's position, and now they're welcoming China, and we will be part of the Chinese empire on this basis. I mean, we can't defend ourselves against China. We can't defend ourselves economically against China. The only person who's going to stave off China from controlling our country is America. So you've got your choice. The left will go for China because it's a communist country. Socialism in our time. You know, you agree with that?
No, I don't.
Oh, well, there you go.
I'd love to know where this left is.
Well,
And
Sophie.
let's keep in mind that the government just rejected Minmetal's bid.
Yeah, I know.
Given
but
that they're a security, well, they deemed it a security
had to
risk
do
because
that
it
in
was
the middle of
located
that.
near Woomera. But let's talk about
middle of the
Chinalco's bid to
Matahari crisis.
to increase its stake in Rio Tinto, which is currently on the table. The government are reviewing that. Would you share Peter Costello's concerns? He outlined six concerns
I'm not
in
an economist,
the
right?
press recently.
I'm not an economist at all, but this is what worries me. What's going to happen is that China, and this is a sensible thing for China to do, will be to buy controlling interest or buy out our major mineral exporting companies up to now which are exporting to China, to get as much control of those as they can. Because that means the profits will be repatriated to China and not spent in Australia, doesn't it? That's their aim, and it's a sensible aim.
Well, I've heard the same arguments a decade ago that Japan was going to control the Australian beef industry.
Yeah, but it's
because they were buying up our cattle stations.
It's colonial imperialism, capitalism.
Dennis,
and this is what countries all over the
Is there a
world
concern, given that it's a state-owned company?
Is there any more concern that we've privatised things in Australia that are now run by French state-owned companies?
do. Not
or
allowed
by
to answer
Singaporean
questions with questions. Answer
state-owned
the
companies?
question. Look, it is a concern, isn't it? It'll diminish the profit for Australians if the ownership of these companies goes into Chinese hands. And so you've got this vertical integration where they own the minerals here, they export it, they'll use Chinese ships, they'll use Chinese labour on the ships, and it all goes to China. I mean, that isn't really what we want, is it?
Well, it may not be what we want. It's probably what we're going to get.
Okay, well...
And what's been Australia's history? We've been an offshore farm and quarry for the major industrial powers of the world. Now, if that was Britain, we're an offshore farm for Britain.
Yeah, well...
Now Britain no longer is that power.
I don't think Australians are going to be very
from the late
comfortable with this.
50s, we became the major trading partner of Japan.
We'll continue to thrash this out after the break. We'll be back.